Okay, this is Federalist 15, Part 7. Before I continue with this part, let me just refresh your memory of one of the things that led to the writing of this Constitution. As you notice, this is the state of Virginia, okay? And this right here is the state of Maryland. And right in the center is Chesapeake Bay. As you can see, if a ship comes in here and is carrying cargo, it can unload its cargo both in Maryland as well as Virginia. So people like James Madison and George Washington wanted to make sure that the issue of tariff, import tax on the ships that come through here, not to cause a trouble between these two states. So in 1774, they had a meeting and kind of worked out their differences in Mount Vernon. Mount Vernon is what is Washington's residence, George Washington's residence. And James Madison decided to ask the legislature of Virginia to call a meeting of all the states, to ask all the states to get together and discuss the trade problems, so that in the long run there won't be hard feelings or maybe even issues that might end up in a war between the states. So Virginia actually called the states to get together towards the end of summer or fall of 1786 in Annapolis, Maryland. But unfortunately, only 5 states sent representatives, delegates, and only 12 delegates showed up. And the good thing is that between these delegates, amongst these delegates, 2 of the most important people that we are concerned with, James Madison and Alexander Hamilton, showed up. They were the 2 of the people that were seriously behind this Constitution, and they seriously knew that the Articles of Confederation had major problems. So they decided to ask the Continental Congress, to ask all the states to send delegates to Philadelphia to send delegates on second Monday of May 1787. And that just happened to happen. And this was one of the simple things that led to the states sending these delegates to Philadelphia and writing of the Constitution. Of course, I've told you about the Shays' Rebellion, which was very important, and that took place in winter of 1786-1787 in western Massachusetts. We'll talk about that some more. Just wanted to refresh your memory and see how it was that this Philadelphia Convention actually took place. Now I'll continue with Federalist number 15. We are now in paragraph 6, and that paragraph starts with the great and radical vice of the construction of the existing Confederation is in the principle of legislation for states or governments in their corporate or collective capacities, and as contradistinguished from the individuals of whom they consist. So we talked about this a little bit. Madison, Hamilton, and those who wrote the Constitution, they decided that the Articles of Confederation had a major problem, and that major problem was that if you had any issues with citizens of different states, if they had done wrong, if they had broken laws, If there was anything that they had to do, if they wanted to tax the citizens of different states, they had to do it through the states. They couldn't just directly tax people. Remember, we said during the Revolutionary War, one of the big problems was that the Continental Congress had to ask the states to send money. The Congress back then couldn't force people to pay taxes, couldn't ask people directly to pay taxes. If they violated the law or if they did something criminal, the federal or the Continental Congress had to go through the states to force the citizens to go to court. So this had become just a ridiculous thing, because one of the issues that Publius talks about, sorry I got interrupted there. So one of the issues that Publius and in these Federalist Papers is talking about is for the government to be called a government, they have to be able to hold people accountable. If they break the law, the government should be able to take them to the court of law, and if they are found guilty, to punish them, to fine them. And if a government cannot do that, then it's not worth its name. You can't call it a government. And that's how these founders saw the Continental Congress and the first Constitution of the United States. So you couldn't do that. You had to request the states to work with you. So here's in this beginning of this paragraph, he says, the principle of legislation for states or governments in their corporate collective capacity means they had to treat everything, they had to go through the states rather than as country distinguished, rather than from the individuals of whom they consist. The Constitution wanted to be able to tax the citizens directly in case there was an emergency. Did not want to make the same mistake that they had done during the Revolutionary War and make requisitions from the states, because we know experience teaches us, experience taught them that this thing is not going to happen.